PMIC is back again, also known as Michael Edward Horn. And as future governor of California, I also want to let you know everything I overcame. When I was first born, I was born with a fatal disease known as the MIN syndrome. It was also a severe, it's one of the severe combined immunodeficiency, and it was known to be fatal with chronic diarrhea, enlarged spleen, and rashes all over my body, and suffocated me inside out, and Jesus Christ brought me back to life. Also, I was born with epilepsy, and I was actually in my swimming pool, and one day my light, the light from heaven went down on me, lifted my epilepsy out of my system. Next morning, my adopted mother took me to the neurologist and never saw me ever having epilepsy. I overcame bullied, discrimination, 5 foster homes, 3 group homes. I also over, I also over discrimination. I witnessed my 5-year-old sister getting raped, my birth mom getting beaten, and I tried to stop it and I failed. I I also witnessed 10 girl, actually one African American girl being sexually harassed by 10 boys by trying to touch her behind. I fought them off, saving her. I witnessed Jackie Gonzalez try to commit suicide off the third floor of Jacoby Hall. I dived like Superman, caught her before she fell to the ground. When I was 16, I witnessed a 14-year-old having a flashback 14-year-old girl having a flashback, and she broke through a balcony, and I and towards the ground below, uh, uh, and then I dived like Superman, and I caught her from falling to the ground. I also I had post-traumatic stress disorder. I overcame that through the child abuse. I was thrown against the wall head first. I actually could not pronounce all 26 letters of the alphabet with speech impediment, and now I can't. Now I only have problems pronouncing 3 L's, R's, and W's. I can't roll my tongue. I also am tone deaf, volume deaf. Tone deaf means I can't. Every time I sing or rap, I'm always off key. And volume deaf is I can't hear how loud I get or how soft I get. I was born with wandering eye, and I overcame that with over 12 eye surgeries. And so I overcame so much. And my adopted mother, Estrella Iris Horn, was was diagnosed legally blind. She overcame bullying, discrimination, verbal, emotional, and psychological abuse. Her adopted uncle said, "You can't do this. You can't do this. You never be good at this. Never be good at this." She started doubting herself. Eventually, her mother told her whole story, and my mother actually overcame that self-doubt. I also was verbally abused, psychological abuse, emotional abuse. My adopted father called me a liar when I wasn't lying. My adopted uncle said, "You can't do this, you can't do this, you never be good at this, never be good at this." And I started doubting myself. My mother told me her story, and I overcame my self-doubt. My adopted grandfather died at Cal, didn't have a close to tell me, he just told me. He told my adopted dad told me. My my adopted dad called me liar, and I wasn't lying. My adopted mother, grandfather, also died of Cal, didn't have a close to tell her that he just told her. He told her father told her. And then also her father called her liar. She wasn't lying. My adopted grandmother did the same thing. She was born legally blind. She also her father called her liar when she wasn't lying. Her uncle doubted her constantly, and she had self-doubt and stopped believing herself. Same thing, and her grandfather died of cow. Didn't have a close to tell her he did, so he went to her father, and her father told her. So I'm not a fourth generation overcomer of abuse, as well as overcoming bullying, discrimination, and stuff. My grandmother also overcame bullying, discrimination as well. I also was pushed in a hornet's nest. Someone came at me with a knife, and so I overcame so much. And people need to know my story and how far I overcame despite my disability and despite what I've been through. People need to know who my grandmother, Estrella Iris Horn, who was my adopted mother, and Nina Adriana Milan, who was my adopted grandmother. They need to know how far they overcame and what they did for our country. And this will show you how far we came despite all accomplishments. I'm a gold medalist in Special Olympics softball, basketball, and bowling. Silver medal in Special Olympics floor hockey and bowling. Fourth place in Special Olympics golf 2 years in a row. I'm an associate teacher in early childhood education. I was homecoming king for Sac City College. I was a student senator and commissioner of environmental field, which I led my own committee at Sac City. I was on board director of Sacramento Participant and Special Needs Alliance. I also am first place in Bakersfield College Idol 2 years in a row, and first place in all competition at Bakersfield College for 1 year. I also had my own talk show on Access Sacramento Internet Radio. I also am a civil rights leader. I'm on the disabled, low income, and the homeless. I'm a candidate for California State Governor. And my mother and my grandmother got gold medal in bowling for the League of the Blind. They got the BA, MA, and AA in special ed. They also had the law degree in civil rights law, constitutional law, criminal law, family law, divorce and guardianship, and adoption, as well as got the law degree in psychological, criminal, and medical malpractice law, despite being legally blind. And I'm here to continue where they left off, so we could finally fight and take down injustice. Also, I'm here to advocate for people who can't advocate for themselves. Also, I made a game called What Will You Do If That Was You for one of my classes for a final project, which is a role-playing game, modern based off Dungeons & Dragons type of scenario. You actually go to the different rooms and temples. I also created a little animated clip in my class called Friend. I also got one of my class CDs that I made for one of my music competitions. It has one of my songs on it. And so I have accomplished and been through a lot. And I'm here to make sure people know how far we overcame. Let them know that despite your disability, despite what you've been through, you could overcome it like I did, like my mother, like my grandmother did. When people hear the story and all of our accomplishment, people will finally know that we can overcome disability. We can overcome abuse and what we've been through. We don't have to let it run our life. You could learn to overcome it. You could either choose to let it run you or you run them. You run it, and I choose, and my mother and my grandmother choose. We are going to run our disability. We will run over what we've been through, because it has not stopped us. We're continuing fighting every day. You can either take 3 paths to choose. Let it not use your gifts at all. Use it to better mankind and womankind and animalkind, or you could actually use it to destroy the world and tear people down. And I choose to actually use it to advocate for others, stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves, and also make this world a better place with my inventions. In fact, one of my inventions is getting patented through George Davison Company, which actually solved the drought problem and solved the global warming problem. It saves all of mankind. So please, vote for me. Because if you want that new hope, if you want that new direction, and you get it, if you hear my story, if you hear my mother and my grandmother's story, because the only way you could have that, because a lot of people who've been through abuse or even through the foster care finds other means to actually fit in, turn to drugs, turn to gangs, turn to violence. But I didn't take that path. My mother, my grandmother, my adopted mother, my adopted grandmother didn't take that path. We choose the other route. We choose advocacy. We choose self-advocacy. We choose encouraging others by telling our story and what we've been through. And now, if you really want that new hope and new direction, please vote for me, the KPMIC, because nobody can do it better than me.